What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents alike? This your boy Enlightened Luciferian Prince coming at y'all once again. I didn't choose to upload for the past few days because I've been extremely tied up with dealing with my personal life, and I actually have my niece's birthday coming up on Friday. So, yes, people, I have very limited time to assess a lot of things. And what I did was I actually did due diligence to sit back and watch the channel analytics just suddenly just open up as soon as the channel was monetized. And I knew this was what was going to have happen eventually. And it's quite all right because, like I said before, this is the first time that I actually have monetized my channel. It's hell, I didn't make nothing but $4.11. Go figure. It's not a lot of money. And the truth is, I mean, it is what it is. I'm still gonna keep dropping the heat. I'm still gonna keep coming into the balance of the realization because I want people to really know what the truth is, more so in regards to their personal life and study and education and proper mental health and proper interpretation of what reality is to you is vitally important, especially at a time like today where you have socioeconomic conditions which also derail you from ever coming to a higher conscientiousness. And this is the thing that is now more needed today than ever. So in order for us to get to that point, we have to properly assess what real knowledge is. And this video today will be called the Galileo paradigm. And again, I think it's something that really doesn't really place emphasis on who Galileo is, more so the concept that he expressed to a larger sector of the world, but it still coincides with the problems that we have today because we have a globalist, one world government doing its damnness to basically depopulate and change the face of what humanity is. And until we come together in a conscientiousness to be able to break out of those mental shackles and those hindrances that keep us embedded in a false reality, then we're never going to really have a conscientious shift to actually provide the mental momentum to move and change social conditions for ourselves. And I believe that this is very important. And I believe that what I do is very important. And I believe that people who I contact and I actually deal with, it's just that the emphasis that I place on the truth about what life is highly important too. So without further ado, let me read this statement. It says, all truths are easy to understand once they are discovered. This is Galileo Galilei. But I also want to read a statement made by Woodrow Wilson. We have come to be one of the worst ruled, one of the most completely controlled and dominated governments in the world. No longer a government of free opinion, no longer a government of conviction and vote of the majority, but a government by the opinion and duress of small groups of dominant men. This is Woodrow Wilson's statement, President of the United States, this is 1913 to 1918. Now, when we realize that the conscientious shift comes with the paradigm of realizing the idea of knowing what you're dealing with today in the socioeconomic conditions, and especially people who are, what should I say? I would say the indigo children, people who are basically aware and know that they have to realize that now is the time of the essence because it's a lot of uncertainty that's getting ready to take place and in the near future, and for good reason, because it's because what people don't know. What people don't know and what the unknown is often makes people apprehensive about becoming proactive in their personal life. Now, I think that also a lot of people that I deal with in regards to what I do on my channel, they have an apathetic sort of nature where they don't really want to be proactive in their own personal choice. And this is one of the reasons why in human nature, people get taken advantage of. You get taken advantage of by the parasitical society because for the most part, if indeed you do get taken advantage of from the parasitical society, it's only because your inability to really adapt to the process of what you're supposed to know and how you're supposed to use it. It's a big difference if you learn something or an information, you just restore it. But it's a bigger difference in your life if you actually use it. There's no video on YouTube that you can go look up and actually will change, your life. You have to become the change you really want to see. And this is why I emphasize the solo path. Now this is also, I'm gonna take a drink of my my COVID tonic. This is lemon, lime, ginger, and garlic. Yes, garlic. It's my COVID tonic. Take a sip while I proceed and read. Right. Yeah. But it's healthy. All right. Many Americans today are preoccupied with life and the stress-filled demands on their time and make similar mistakes by assuming they know something without ever seeking to prove it as fact or as fact applicable for their own life, simply because it is accepted as a social custom. There is precious little time at the end of the day for many to perform their own research, which is unfortunate, on the subject matter of the intensity. However, ignorance or being unaware has a very high cost. Long ago, many empirically knew that the earth was flat and that the earth was the center of the universe. There was no major question in regards to this until Galileo completed his work, which established a new paradigm that in the eyes of modern man seems rather simple today. There was much strife and derision put upon him, but over time his work stands as fact that we might even wonder what the fuss was all about. We are all created as free moral agents with the right to make our own decisions, and then to be responsible for those free will choices and not to blame others for their beliefs by claiming any kind of undue influence in order to escape our individual responsibility for our own decisions and choices. How each individual chooses to exercise or apply information found in any work or any other information that may come forth is the essence of their free moral determination. This informational material, which I present to you, is provided for the educational benefit of those seeking such knowledge based on the concept of the author's belief. The best decisions are usually those that are based upon knowledge and information rather than assumptions of facts, not in evidence. Therefore, it is imperative necessary for you to understand the following statement to clarify the intent of what I'm getting ready to say in the speech and for the enjoyment of your actual viewing purposes and expressions, opinions actually coming from a lengthy research effort. So what it is that most people don't really know that the paradigm is the social consciousness, which is what I basically go back to, not really being divided, but really having a unique collective awareness. So people who are collectively aware of a problem can solve the problem group-wise, but from the social distancing capacity that you can still apply it from a distance and not have to actually have involve yourself in a group association. And this is the only way that these things will work. I had a consultation with somebody earlier this week, and I was explaining that to him. I said this is why I don't do group affiliations. I don't do group associations because group associations and group affiliations are often going to be tainted, and they're going to be slandered, and they're going to be mocked and derided in some form or fashion, because people have to realize that it doesn't come with a group collective consciousness. That's a herd mentality, but it comes with a shift in thinking. It's all about how you change your perception and what you see. How you see life or what you see. We all face a common threat, whether we realize it or not. See, this whole programming ideology today, where they're sitting there talking about we're all in this together. No, we're not. You're only in the sheep pen if you think like a sheep. We're not in it together. This is not a together situation, but they want to make it seem that way because it makes it so much more psychologically bearable for circumstances that exist outside of your control to think that you have a herd mentality to be aligned with certain circumstances which you know nothing about. That makes things much easier for them, you know. See, me, I think outside of the proverbial box, because the truth is you cannot go by the concept of the propaganda that's being placed before you today. This whole COVID-19 reality is just nothing more than economic destabilization, long-term effects, and a debt-laden bankrupt economy. That's all it is. This is not a concept about whether you believe there's actually a virus out there. These viruses have always been implemented in society, but we have to get realistic about one concept. Where does it come from? It comes from a certain source. Fort Detrick, Alabama, you name it. These individuals, the CDC, these individuals do this stuff because they know for a fact it's called a problem reaction solution scenario, otherwise known as the Hegelian dialectic, which I said we'll actually go into later on in my series in my video. But let me also say this. The lie can be maintained only for such a time as the state can shield the people from the political, economic, and or military consequences of the lie. It thus becomes vitally important for the state to use all of its powers to repress dissent, for the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie, and thus, by extension, the truth is the greatest enemy of the state. Joseph Goebbels, German Minister of Propaganda, 1933 to 1945. Let me read this citation. The makers of our Constitution undertook to secure conditions favorable to the pursuit of happiness. They recognize the significance of man's spiritual natures of his feelings or his intellect. They know that only a part of the pain, pleasure, and satisfactions of life are to be found in material things. They sought to protect Americans in their beliefs, their thoughts, their emotions, and their sensations. They conferred, as against the government, the right to be let alone, the most comprehensive of rights and the rights most valued by civilized men. Decency, security, and liberty alike demand that government officials shall be subject to the same rules of conduct that are the commands of the citizen. And the government of law's existence of government will be in peril if it fails to observe the law scrupulously. Our government is the potent, the omnipresent teacher, for good or ill. It teaches the whole people by its example. Crime is contagious. If the government becomes a lawbreaker, it breeds contempt for the law. It invites to every man to become a law unto himself. It invites anarchy. United States Supreme Court Justice Louis D. Brandy, dissenting opinion, Olmstead versus United States, 277, United States Supreme Court, Volume 438, 1928. For anyone thinking that I'm just making this stuff up, you know, you agents. As I said before, there is no coffee on my channel. I don't really have anything for you. No Danishes, no nothing. It's COVID-19. Now, the reason why I express this wholeheartedly is because I want people to get a conscientious nature about what education is in regards to the self-government. Self-government is not, it's you. You have to rule from your own moral standpoint to be the most perfect example that you can be and to respond to a system that is totally encumbering your life with its way of wanting it to profit off of your misery. That's all it could ever do. And again, irrespective of, you know, my content on my channel, I don't care if they don't like what I say, but it's the truth. And if I'm speaking the truth, then obviously you got to respect it to some degree. Now, why do I say this? Because this is the highly most significant, important part of, especially if you're a mature adult, of your life. Because you're going to listen to the concept that people place out there in society, but you're also not aware of what you're going to do in your near future. You're not aware. And this is why I do what I do, because unless you become aware about something, then you could proactively maneuver and you can proactively apply it. And guess what? It takes time. So don't feel like you have to rush. You have to realize that in order for you to fix a problem, you have to first be informed of what the problem is and to logistically put it together so you can properly assess it. So that way you're not going to err in anything that you do. Especially at a time like now, you don't have to rush. Don't ever feel like you have to rush. You know, I tell that to a lot of people I have consultation with. Don't feel like you have to rush to something. Take your time, properly assess and study. And once you study, apply. Once you apply, guess what? Hey, realize. You know? So people, I'm just letting you know that this is a beginning to a series that I wish to start on my channel to broaden and to further awaken many people who come to my channel to a concept of something that they really don't have a familiarity with. And I have to realize that I have to take my time in order for them to properly understand, because I realize that I'm smart enough to know that my words influence people. So since my words influence people, I have to make sure that I'm doing due diligence in order to properly instruct you. Okay? So, as I said before, this week, probably sometime, Friday, whatever case may be, I got nieces to take care of. I got a birthday party to go to. You know what I'm saying? So don't feel like if I don't answer the email, I'm ignoring you. I have a birthday party to go to. So I'll be tied up with that for the better part of the weekend, as long as it doesn't rain, which it is today. So, anywho, ginger. So, this is the truth. Just know, like I said before, the channel is open. Now I know that people who subscribe, now you get notifications. YouTube got what they was looking for. But guess what? They listen. I don't care about none of that stuff. What's important to me on my channel is the truth. Stay tuned for another video. And it is what it is. It's raining today, and I have nothing else better to do. All right, y'all. Take care. Peace. And agents, you know what it is. Peace. Love y'all.